Spicy decks of the week, where we look at the cool, crazy decks that had success either in tournaments or on ladder by reaching king games or going on a long win streak of some kind. We have a deck that went on a really long win streak here, first off, in Fire King Yubel. This one went 15 wins in a row at the Legend or King of Games rank. Fire Kings are one of those decks that can just really grind out your opponent in the long game. Garunix being able to blow up the board, of course. Arvada negating monster effects, and being able to loop everything when you blow up your monsters to trigger their effects, get your stuff back to the field. It can be really devastating for certain decks to go up against in the long game. When you add Yubel into that mix, it can get even more devastating. And we can actually very consistently get Yubel off here too, right? One, it's very easy for us to destroy Yubel in our hand with the Fire King effects. We have the Fire King Island, which we can search for, as well as the True King I always mess up pronounce this guy. We're just going to call him True King here because I can't pronounce his name. So Yubel, though, we have a lot of ways to trigger it, but we can also get it to our hand fairly easily too, because we don't just we don't just have the potential to hard draw into the original copy of Yubel. If we draw any of the bigger forms of Yubel, Yubel Terra Incarnate, or the Ultimate Nightmare, we can activate our skill My Name is Yubel to shuffle it back into your deck and add a normal Yubel from your deck to hand. So this just allows you to shuffle back in from your hand to the deck the other evolutions that you don't want to draw into your hands, and guaranteed you can get Yubel to hand. So you basically have 6 ways to open up with Yubel in your hands. You can very consistently get it, very consistently summon it to the trigger its effect to summon your forms to the field, and just create more problems for your opponent to deal with. Beyond that, it's mostly just a standard Fire King deck. All the other monsters in here are the standard cards you would see in a Fire King deck. The Onslaught, the Barong, and your sort of standard back row Book of Moon, Treacherous Trap Hole. So getting into the list, I mentioned the skill is My Name is Yubel. We do have the 1 Yubel Ultimate Nightmare, 2 of the Terra Incarnate, 3 normal Yubel, 3 True King. We have 2 Fire King Avatar Garunix, 3 Fire King Avatar Arvada, 2 Battling Boxer Veil, 3 Fire King Barong, 3 Book of Moon, 1 Circle of the Fire Kings, 2 Onslaught of the Fire Kings, 3 Fire King Island, and 2 Treacherous Trap Hole, and no extra deck at all with this particular version of Fire King. And that's always nice for budget purposes, right? When you can get stuff without having to go for an extra deck and get cards out of a whole bunch of different boxes. But here, though, we do have, unfortunately, the Selection Box card in True King. So until True King comes out in a normal box, this is not going to be considered a budget deck. But once that does happen, though, that'll certainly help a lot with this. So next up, we have a Neo-Spacian deck. So this is utilizing that favorite duel skill that we talked about a few weeks ago. It's that really cool sort of anime-like skill where you can send an E-Hero or a Neo-Spacian from your hand to the graveyard, then you send one from your deck to your graveyard and get a Miracle Fusion in your hand. It allows you to very easily summon some of those anime monsters like the Flame Wingman and stuff like that that you usually don't get to see in the TCG or Master Duel of this game. But because of the skill, we can very easily get it to the field or summon it, and it's actually kind of useful here. But beyond that, as I mentioned with the favorite duel skill, you don't just have to use elemental heroes with the skill. You can also send Neo-Spacians from your hand or deck to the graveyard in order to summon the Neo-Spacian E-Hero monsters, which gives us access to a few other effects that we wouldn't usually have in this version of the deck running the Neo-Spacians. But we're also running Convert Contact in here, which gives us a draw engine to go with the Neo-Spacians. So if you have no monsters, you can send a Neo-Spacian from your hand and 1 from your deck to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. So you don't plus off of it, but it does let you filter through your deck, get to your Neo's Fusion easier, and it is really cool that we're able to mix this kind of draw engine into this deck here, and find an effective way to utilize the Neo-Spacians with the favorite duel skill. So we're not just so we have multiple ways to try to play with this. We're not just limited to using the E-Heroes. So getting into the deck list, we have the 1 of Neo-Space Connector, 2 Neo-Space Grand Mole, 2 Neo-Space Aqua Dolphin, 1 Bacon Saver, 2 Neo-Space Air Hummingbird, 2 E-Hero Neos, 1 Sparkman, 1 Avion, and 1 Burst Lady. We also have the 1 Miracle Contact, 1 Favorite Hero, 3 Neos Fusion, 1 Neo-Space, 3 Convert Contact, and 1 Treacherous Trap Hole. In the extra deck, we have the 1 Divine Neos, 1 Grand Neos, 1 Brave Neos, 1 Storm Neos, 1 Shining Flare Wingman, 1 Aqua Neos, and then the normal original E-Hero Flame Wingman, rounding out that extra deck. Next up, we have a Rose Dragon list. This one reached King of Games. This one's quite interesting from a lot of the other ones I've seen because we're not utilizing a lot of the normal Rose and Rose Dragon cards in here. We're instead using some of the Aroma cards along with Spore to be able to go into more synchro plays with this deck. So, and go into them in different ways. The author wrote some notes about this deck about how it's a little bit more explosive than the normal version of the deck, but it's a little bit more prone to bricking, and I can definitely see that. We still have our Rocks Rose Dragon in here and our White Rose Dragon as our sort of main Rose Dragon engine cards, but we're also running the Super Solar Nutrient, which can work in conjunction with Spore and your little Aroma monsters to get into your bigger cards while putting the Spore and stuff like that in the graveyard. You can bring it back to the field. So a number of different ways you have to go for your synchro monster here. Blessed Winds is also cool, being able to bring back a monster from your graveyard. Basically just giving you like that sort of Call of the Haunted you can activate multiple times. We also have really cool ways where you can like trigger Jasmine's effect to get extra draws with this deck as well. As I mentioned, the author left some notes here. The high plant count is good for Black Rose Dragon and Carrot OTK line. Blessed Winds felt really nice to keep control in grindy matches, especially if you get the whole Aroma package in rotation. And then a cool play is to use Nutrient plus Laurel into Jasmine to get the draw off of Jasmine, especially if you have Winds or Angelica in hand. So some really cool, interesting plays with this deck. Nice to see players finding different ways to play this deck. Again, I still feel like players are kind of trying to find a way to play this deck most optimally. It doesn't seem like, it's not going to be like a great meta deck or anything, but I do think that players are still trying to find the best way to play the deck and, just improve it slightly and finding different ways to go about it. So getting into the list real quick, we have the Spell of Roses as our skill still. We have 3 Rocks Rose Dragon, 1 Aroma Jasmine, 3 Spore, 3 Aroma Seraphy Angelica, 3 White Rose Dragon, 1 World Carrot Weight Champion, 1 Aroma Laurel, 3 Basil Rose Shoot, 3 Super Solar Nutrient, 3 Blessed Winds, and then we have the 1 of Rudy Rose Dragon, 1 Cyber Slash Harpy Lady, 2 Black Rose Dragon, 1 Coral Dragon, 1 Aroma Seraphy Rosemary, and 1 Samurai Destroyer. And now, rounding out the list, we have a train deck from Alfred. Now, I know I just showed one of these last week from the same player. However, though, a couple new things. First off, we have a new card in this deck to talk about that just came out in Duel Links from the event that's going on, the Annika Boom event. But also, this player, Alfred, won like 5 first place anytime tournaments. So these small tournaments where like a few players enter, you play a few bucks and win a few bucks out of it. But he won like 5 in like one day with this deck. So a little bit different list than the one that we showed just this past week. But I wanted to talk about it again because we do have some new things here. So first off, we have the new card, the Heavy Armor Train Iron Wolf. I've seen a couple different decks using this, but the train deck is obviously the one that it's supposed to sort of fit into, being a train card, 2 level 4 machine type monsters. It does a couple things. One, you can detach a material from it, target a machine you control, and it can attack your opponent directly. So that means you can very easily OTK your opponent and steal wins with your Super Dreadnoughts, which can attack for 4,000 damage potentially. So you do have a great way to be able to steal wins with this. It's the only card on your side of the field that can attack, but it kind of reminds you of that Nightmare Shark card that Burning Abyss and Phantom Knights and other decks will use to steal wins. Kind of have the same concept here. But also, if this card gets destroyed by your opponent and sent to the graveyard, you get to add a level 4 machine from your deck to hand. So you get to add a Pegasus from your deck to hand, which of course, normal summon it, bring back a machine from your graveyard. It acts as a 1-card XYZ play for you. So Armor Train's really nice in this deck, and this deck can probably utilize it better than any other one because of your ability to easily steal wins and attack your opponent directly for over 4,000 life points with its effect. So other than that, we have the same monster lineup that we did before. The Darricane and the others allow you to special summon themselves from the hand. As mentioned, Pegasus bringing stuff back from the field, allow you to get rank or level 10 monsters out on the board very easily with this deck. However, though, our spell and trap lineup has changed a bit here. We are not running the sort of Forbidden Lances and the Treacherous Trap Holes anymore. Instead, we're maxing out on XYZ Reborn and Skill Prisoner. Skill Prisoner, of course, incredibly powerful card, stops your monster from being targeted by your opponent's monster effects, and you can use it a second time after it goes to the graveyard, banish it, and take advantage of that. So Skill Prisoner, a very powerful card. We see here how a ton of decks are able to utilize this card in other decks besides Burning Abyss, which it got hit on the ban list because of that deck. Skill Prisoner, very powerful. But in addition to that, XYZ Reborn here, very powerful in this deck as well. Being able to bring back gigantic Super Dreadnought monsters at 3,000, 4,000 attack points while giving them material to activate their effects, that can be absolutely devastating for your opponent when you have these 1-card XYZs coming out in the later game. So He also ran 3 Drowning Mirror Force in the side deck, thought I'd point that out as well, along with 3 MST and a Book of Moon. But yeah, again, won like 5 tournaments in one day with this deck. Those small little anytime tournaments, so just had to point that out in one of the showcases list, because again, we got a new card out of it as well. But anyways, that's it for the spicy decks of the week. If you guys liked the video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section any of these decks you'd like me to see do a full deck profile on, and I will check out some of these lists and definitely see what we can do about them. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of the day.